Hello everyone, welcome to Kensington Eikaiwa's video lesson, or video example of the video lesson. What would we call this? A video chat, I guess.
Video chat?
Yeah, welcome to the video chat for this particular lesson. And today's lesson is all about learning, which is basically part of our jobs. We teach people about learning. We get them to learn Japanese, what am I talking about? English. We get them to learn English. And help them with our teaching skills. So we're going to talk, this is the level 2 and 3 section for learning, and today's purpose, or today's kind of target, is to be able to discuss various aspects of learning, also to use many different grammar forms such as the present perfect progressive, like I've been learning how to, and so on, and also using adjectives and just learning experiences in general in our lives. So today it's me, and if you don't know me, my name's Denny. And it's also Henry, which everyone should know Henry by now. So how are you, Henry?
I'm good, Denny. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I am, just pretty good. I'm dry now. I've been cycling in the rain. It's a rainy day today.
In the rain. Oh, poor guy.
That's fine. I'm used to it. It's no worries. So I guess you can start with some questions, and then we'll have a discussion.
Okay, Denny. Learning. So my first question to you, Denny, is how do you define learning?
Learning. How do I define it? If I were to define learning, I would define learning as the fundamental process that is living. So living is a process that involves learning, because our brains are organisms, or is an organ that is constantly learning about its environment and developing new techniques in order to preserve energy. So learning is living, essentially.
Right.
That's what
I see.
Yeah.
Oh.
What about
you? It's like we don't have any choice but to learn, basically, to be able to survive. So as organisms. Fascinating, interesting.
Correct. Because I mean, if you are young and you don't know what a hot stove does to your hand, and you put your hand on the hot stove, you learn very quickly what heat does. You get some fried hand right there. So it's a learning experience. Everything is learning. So
now, if you were to start learning a new language, how would you start?
Oh boy, there's many ways to start that.
Good question.
If it were me, I think I would start with just the alphabet at first. Because you need to understand what the sound of the character is. So just the alphabet, and also a basic way of saying I am. He is, you are. So the first, second, and third person. After that, I would start probably just talking to people if I could, and also reading. Because I find that reading is the most effective way of learning a language. Because learning a language, if you learn a word without the sentence, there's no meaning to it. But when it's in a sentence, you start to learn.
It makes more sense.
Yeah, but it depends on the language, because you can't really do this with, for example, Japanese coming from English, because the grammar, the kanji is really, really different. So you need to actually start building your vocabulary and then reading, if that makes sense. Yeah, so I think it depends on the language. Well, how about you?
I would start with the simple basic phrases that people use to greet and introduce themselves. And after that, I'll go into the alphabet. Yes, but I would start with the simple phrases, basic phrases that people use.
Right.
Denny, do you think it's better to learn slowly or to be thrown in at the deep end?
I think you either survive or you die. I'm a bit of a Spartan when it comes to this. A Spartan, if people don't know, are ancient Greek warriors, or they're kind of, you either live or die when you try something, and they were very aggressive. I don't really agree with Spartans, but that's the idea. I think if you're going to learn something, you have to start. And it means going in the deep end a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's a sink or swim kind of thinking. For example, when I moved to Japan, I didn't know any Japanese. Like almost zero. I knew Ichi-ni-san. And that's it. So I was in the deep end. I didn't ever study it, but I lived in Japan. So I was like, well, if I live in Japan, I have to actually learn the language. So I started speaking it. And 10 years later, I can speak the language. It's self-taught and it's not perfect, but I can do it. So that kind of, when you, it's like Yoda in Star Wars. He says, do or do not. There is no try. And I tend to believe in that. I go, you either go in or you do nothing at all.
You don't. I see. So,
how about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. When you're put into the situation, yeah, you can learn even faster.
Right.
And if you're learning how to ride a bicycle, basically you get onto the bicycle. You can fall many times, but you learn how to ride it.
Exactly.
What role do you think technology plays in learning today?
That's a very layered question. It's like an onion. There are many layers. Technology. So the positives of technology, and the way I think of technology is a hammer is technology, a book is technology. These things are old forms of technology, but when we look at how it affects us, it makes things easier. So it makes things more efficient. So as an example, a tablet allows you to look up things very quickly and allows you to translate things very quickly through your Kindle and so on. But on the negative side, technology can make you lazy. And some things you can't be lazy about. So you can learn all about cooking, but if you never actually cook, you're not a good cook. You're not a cook, actually. So I think that using technology, it's like what Aristotle said. He said that everything, nothing too much. Use technology, but balance it with real action and experimentation. So I think technology is very useful, but too much use makes us dumb, basically. What do you think?
I would totally agree with you. Yes, technology can speed up our learning processes, but also, as you said, it can make us lazy in some ways, and maybe sometimes too dependent on it. And when we are put in situations where we may not be able to use the technology, we may get stuck.
Yeah, totally.
So, how do you stay motivated when learning something that is difficult for you? Is there anything difficult for you, Danny, anyway? You're such a smart guy.
Is there anything that's difficult for me? I don't know. Fishing? I've never done fishing before. I have to think about that. But I would say, how do I stay motivated? I don't really focus on motivation. That's actually what I don't do. I focus on taking an action and then getting results from that action. So, for example, when I wanted to stop drinking caffeine for about a week or a month, I didn't think about getting motivated to do it. I just said, I'm going to do it from today because I want to fix my sleep. And I didn't allow temptation or some kind of feeling to drive me. I just said, I'm going to do it because I want to do it, and then I just did it. So when I learn, if I want to learn something, I tend to go, okay, this is what I want to learn, so I'm going to keep doing it until I learn it. And then after that, I see what happens. So that's kind of how I do it. I don't really motivate myself at all. I just, if I want something, I do it. How about you?
If I'm learning something difficult, I take breaks. And pump myself up and get motivation to keep doing it. And it depends for what purpose I'm learning that whatever I'm learning. So if it's something that is going to change my life in a big way, if I'm really motivated, then I can learn even if it's difficult. So this is going to be one of the last questions because we are running out of time. Denny, what have you been acquiring in terms of knowledge and skills over the years or months?
Knowledge and skills.
What have you been acquiring?
It's a good question. In terms of skills, I guess I've been learning how to teach better here and there. I've been constantly observing other teachers' lessons, observing my own lessons, and optimizing and thinking about how I can improve them. So over the years, that's been my career. That's your career as well. And I think I've just constantly been trying to improve my my teaching. So I'd say that. And in terms of knowledge, I think it's just more of a case of useful knowledge, practical things. So like, how do I replace the brakes on my bicycle? How do I, cook something in a nice way? Or how do I save my money and invest it in things like that? So it's all knowledge that's practical to my life. I don't like learning things for no purpose. Because you get tired, and you mentioned a really important thing. You need rest. I try to get as much rest as possible. Sleep is super important for learning. So yeah, that's basically it. Just practical things and teaching. And what about you?
Been learning a couple of things. For example, meditating. How meditation can improve my health. Especially, I'm getting old and I'm worried about high blood pressure.
Yeah.
Using meditation to see whether it can actually keep my blood pressure normal. Yes, another thing that I've been researching on is the benefits of learning languages other than just communication. Yes. And I'm also researching about AI, artificial intelligence, and how can we use it to make our lives better, and also to make other people's lives better.
Yeah.
So, what would you like to learn in the future, Denny?
I'll keep that pretty simple.
That's the last question today.
Yeah, I would like to learn how to fix floorboards and raise children, because eventually I will probably have children. And if I own a house, eventually I will have to repair the floor.
Right.
So it's like DIY housework stuff. So that's basically it. How about you?
I'd like to try my hand on a Japanese flower arrangement.
All right.
It looks so cool.
It does. Very beautiful stuff.
Design, and also when I look at it, I see somebody's designing something, but around nature. So it's in a vase and flowers and branches, but I can see the shape of nature in there. So for me, it's really fascinating.
Right. Yeah, it's beautiful stuff, that the flower arrangement.
I think that's all that we have time for today.
Yep. So, yeah, thank you for the questions.
No worries.
Those are some good questions, and thanks for the time as well for this fun little chat. I learned a lot.
Me too.
That's good. And
I hope our students have learned too.
Exactly. You read my mind. So thank you very much, Henry. I'll see you in Yakuin, most likely.
See you shortly.
All right. Catch you later.